Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, my friends. We have a fair bit of Tekken 8 news to talk about, not the least of which is we have our first look, sort of, didn't go super in depth, but we do have a proper first look at Eddy Gordo in Tekken 8. Lots of details to go over, although we'll start with the first one, just what you're looking at right now. Yes, the main menu screen, where we've all been staring at Kazuya since launch, it looks like they've been hinting at, not the least of which with Eddy on the screen, that you can change up who the title character is. They said specifically lots of people have been asking for this feature, and that hopefully it can happen, so take that as you will. So this was a longer stream covering a lot of details and also a lot of advertising. Hey, if you want to buy a lot of Tekken related products, don't worry, they got that stuff ready for you in droves, it turns out. But first we have a little bit of a roadmap going forward. So there will be another patch coming up that will affect the game balance to a degree. There will be the Tekken shop added, and the in-game collaborations that they talked about earlier will all be added. Those are all free, just go grab them in the in-game Tekken store. Free little bits of customization for all the characters, and they'll be looking to add more customization and more co-branding like this in the future as well. Now, as for the cosmetic paid DLC shop, there will be a lot of retro costumes. As you can see here, this is Tag Tournament 2 June, and we have a bunch of Tekken 4 costumes as well, such as Tekken 4 costumes for Xiaoyu and Jin, and in Xiaoyu's case as well, it comes with an alternative hairstyle. Tekken 6 Kazuya and all this, and yes, this will cost actual money. Also included are things like avatars for the lobbies, and they'll have their own unique emotes as well. And how they're monetizing it, as specifically there'll be Tekken coins. Generally speaking, everything will cost 400 Tekken coins, and effectively 100 Tekken coins equals $1 USD. So these costumes will all be $4 each American, which for my money is fair enough. I know people get really heated around DLC costumes, especially with Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6. So to me, $4 a costume, $4 an avatar, I think that's pretty fair. Besides avatars and costumes, there'll be more cosmetic effects, and they will be adding to the Tekken shop throughout the lifespan of the game. They'll be looking to update the Tekken shop with new items, new cosmetics, new costumes, new stuff in general, once or twice a month. And they were very clear and adamant to say that all sales, all DLC, all the money will go to further development of the game. Any money made through this is effectively going to be reinvested into Tekken 8 properly. Specifically saying no, they're not just going to pocket the profits and run. So there you go. If that was a worry, don't worry. So all in all, I think it's quite fair for what it is. I like content. I think a lot of us like content, and if content is at a fairly brisk pace, if we get stuff once or twice a month, I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe not everything will be a banger, but as long as content's coming, it's better than just a dry spell. And all this will be introduced with the patch coming sometime either later this month or early next month. Now, as for the patch itself, they didn't want to stress in calling it specifically a balance patch, although obviously the things change will affect balance. Things they're looking forward to that was already mentioned before, like they're looking into Victor's regular throw break window being much shorter than other characters. And the last patch too, not necessarily a balance patch, but definitely affected game balance, eliminating particularly overpowered combos for Jack and Jun, for example. Unfortunately, other than the tweet which they show here on the screen, which was already done before, no hints at what they're looking at specifically, but basically all changes for the health of the game, things that they don't want working the way they're working or didn't intend to work the way it currently works. They stated they'll put up patch notes the day before it goes live, but as for when, once again, sometime either later this month or early next month, no specific time frame. Other things, not particularly new, but just to mention, the Tekken World Tour will kick off in April. And they re-stressed it'll be all offline events. Also in April, expect another patch affecting balance, and other as of yet unnamed features will be showing up. So the content pipeline is coming. There's certainly going to be no dearth of updates, so expect lots more fun stuff for happening in Tekken 8 in the future. Some things they did tease at, although once again no specific dates, but they did tease at things like an online practice mode lobby built into the hub. That'd be great. Also, ghost battles. Everyone seems to like ghost battles, and they're effectively looking to make a mode where you can have ghosts fight ghosts online. And the way I look at it is, if you have your ghost and say you fight like Nee's ghost or Arslan Ash's ghost, and your ghost beats theirs, you're effectively better than they are. If your ghost beat theirs, how else would that happen, right? So you can settle that, no big deal. Just keep running the match till you eventually win, and boom, you're effectively an Evo champion. Also mentioned is story mode edition. So everyone liked the story mode. I had a whole video on the YouTube channel myself. I'm a big fan of the story mode. And will there be a second story mode? Because there was no second story mode for something like, say, Tekken 7. Now, the way it was phrased, honestly, the odds don't sound too great on that, because they did mention it's quite expensive to make. Although they're looking to continue the story through the DLC characters. So perhaps they'll have more than just what the episodes are. Maybe it'll be a bit more in-depth. And also, they don't want people to be forced to buy the DLC characters to enjoy the story. So it looks like whatever story additions come with the DLC characters, so whatever additional story mode bits that the future has to come, you will be able to play them completely free of charge. You do not have to buy the DLC characters to play whatever stories they bring to the table. And if it does work anything like the character stories, I'm assuming that means you'll also be able to try out the character for free in a limited versus AI situation. We'll see how that actually goes. That's my speculation. They certainly didn't say exactly that. But regardless, whatever the story bits that are coming, those you can play them free of charge. Now, another big thing was rage quitters. Rage quitting is an epidemic. Let's just call it for what it is. Rage quitting, plugging, whatever you want to call it, is worse in Tekken than it is in Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. And to say that rage quitting is worse in Tekken than it is in Mortal Kombat is saying something, but it's the truth, and it kind of really sucks. Like, at least MK has a quitality to shame people in Twitter clips, right? But they said here on this specifically, there's no perfect solution for rage quitting and plugging right now, but they are working on it. From things like showing people with more accurate disconnect ratios, and also they are looking to permanently ban people from the game who rage quit. However, due to various countries all have different laws and online protections, it's not quite as easy as picking out a person and banning them forever, because there could be a retaliatory lawsuit coming their way. So they're looking to have all their ducks in a row legally before they start permanently banning players from Tekken 8 for rage quitting. That said, they already have a list, an internal list of people they are looking to ban as soon as they're sure they're legally in the clear. And they're not just talking about like someone has an accidental ban, like proven non-stop rage quitters. And they do stress, please use the report feature, because they do absolutely pay attention to it. And if you're currently a plugger, if you're currently a rage quitter, they just state outright, consider yourself warned, because once they're legally in the clear, they are absolutely coming for you, which I personally applaud. You know, there's been talk about like one and dones and stuff. Maybe you don't owe me a rematch. Sure, maybe you don't owe me a rematch, but you definitely owe me not wasting my time. So, pluggers, your days are potentially numbered. Look forward to it. Okay, so now let's talk Eddy. They didn't go super in-depth on the game plan, but we still learned some very fun things. One, we did get a look at his costume, so we can see his alternate colors. I think that alternate color actually looks really sharp. But costume 3 is the costume. It's super sick looking, like nice sick purple jacket. I really like that one. And for fans of the classics, don't worry, for like many characters, costume 4 is the classic costume, so he can have his Tekken 7 look, and yes, it will give him the more classic hairstyle, which you can freely mix and match with any other costume. So I know Eddy's hair is a big topic of debate, so if you want the more classic hairstyle, it is there for you. Now, one thing to note out of the gate, it's a UI change, not so much just about Eddy. It'll be introduced when he's introduced into the game, but characters that have buffs will basically be represented on the UI. So like Eddy has a buff mechanic, which we'll talk about in a minute, and say Claudio has Starburst, so when the Starburst is live, the icon will light up. Now, as for Eddy in general, lots of things for Eddy have been reanimated. They tell a nice story. One of the developers actually knows Capoeira, and he was originally inspired by Eddy Gordo back in the Tekken 3 days, so it's kind of full circle as he's doing a lot of the new mocap. Things like handstand got reworked a little bit here, different animations, also obviously a wide variety of new moves as it is a new game. They stated that movement from handstand in general will be a lot more freeform, a lot better off. And they did go out of their way to stress that Eddy will be very easy for beginners. He's obviously a very popular character in the franchise, right? So they're saying stuff like, if you just kind of hit like 3, if you hit left kicked over and over, you might just keep going in the moves, keep going in the stances, and kind of go from there. So for good or for ill, the classic Eddy Gordo mashing experience will still be around. Now, you might have noticed there in one of the moves, so he certainly has a bit of a buff mechanic. This mechanic, when he hits certain moves, like say his Hell Sweep style of move here, which only works on clean hits, so you have to be close, by the way. But when you hit certain moves, it'll basically give him a stack of the buff. And the buff is permanent for the round. So he can build up the buffs, but it'll start back at 0 at the beginning of every new round. Gaining stacks of the buffs will be tied to a lot of key moves, so expect to just be using them quite a bit. And it effectively works on like the Drunken Boxer system. So exactly like say Shun-Di in Virtual Fighter or Jamie in Street Fighter. The more stacks you have, the more and more moves unlock. And visually it'll be easy enough to tell because on top of the icon, you can see sort of the wind around his feet. And the higher the level goes, the more the wind gets dramatically improved as far as like the visual effect goes. And through various stack levels, basically more big boy moves get unlocked. And as you can see here visually, with the wind effects, you can definitely tell this is tied to the mechanic. So this gives us a rough idea what he's aiming for. So we don't have like a complete list or anything of like every move that builds stacks and all the moves that unlock at what stacks or anything like that. But we now at least understand the core mechanic that he's aiming for a little bit. And that's about the long and short of it. So they didn't go super in depth, but showed us some new things that are reanimated, some ideas of what he has, his mechanic, and no release date yet. At some point it'll happen, but not privileged to know just yet. Other little things closing out here. They added a quit button anywhere on the menu, so you can quit out if you're on PC easily and fast. A lot more shilling, and hey, fair enough, it's their stream, right? But just to remind y'all, if you get the character pass, you do get characters 72 hours earlier than everyone else. So if you really got to play that Eddy Gordo right away, better get the character pass. And there will be another Tekken Talk later in March. So not stating what they're doing exactly, but I'm expecting more updates, more stuff, more content coming to the game. Maybe by that time there might be another character to show off, who knows, I don't. But basically more goodies to come. It's always nice when the developers do events like these, just to give you an idea what's going on with the game, what to look forward to in the future. I'm very appreciative of that, so glad to see more is coming. And I guess that's it for the news. So the update's coming with Tekken Shop, some new balance changes, all that kind of stuff soon. They're aiming for either the end of this month or early next month. I'm assuming it has to do with like PlayStation, Xbox, cert, and all that kind of stuff. They don't have an exact date, but as soon as they can give it to us, we'll get it. And that's all the news I got for you right now, my friends. So that is the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Tekken.